Indiana Jones, Indiana. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones, Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we get to the heart of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom 1 minute at a time. I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm Pete Mummert.
I'm Joe Christopher Khaled Porter.
And we are joined again today by film critic Tasha Robinson. Welcome back.
Thanks, guys. Wow, of course. I need a big brimming cup of college to get through this day's podcast.
Take the skull tumbler.
Yeah, and then a curlicue straw.
Yeah.
It's like it's pouting at me, though.
Well, it's because you're not drinking. It's sad and lonely.
So if I start drinking from it, it gets happier? That's even creepier.
Yeah? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This got weird real quick. But everything's weird here in the Temple of Doom, especially in minute 74, where we have segues like that one. That was awesome. 74 begins with Indy complimenting Mulram on his vivid imagination, and it ends with Pat Roach grabbing Indy by the face.
So this, we kind of ended the last minute with Mulram saying the Thuggy would be all powerful once they get all the stones. And this minute begins with Han Solo. Well, sort of Han Solo saying,
Sure.
What a vivid imagination. And he says it exactly like Luke Skywalker saying, what a piece of junk. Like, we're still going with the carbonite theory. Like the last time he heard a sentence that began with what a, like it stung. And I think that's his best line of attack right here is to try to bring that back up.
That's funny.
Which, it doesn't really strike me that Mulram has a vivid imagination. As you said, Tommy, he just kind of, he's like a broad stroke villain.
Yeah. I want to rule the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
That's not that vivid.
And do you have any details about what you're going to do when you rule the world?
No, I'll have these 5 stones.
I see skulls everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be red and scully all over the place.
What a predictable imagination.
Yeah, that's what he should have said. Yeah.
Yeah, what a stock imagination.
What a stock of imagination.
I'm sitting here looking at this shot of Indy saying that, and once again we've got this like incredibly like stark, vivid lighting where there's red light falling just on his face. So his head looks like a tomato. Honestly, like, I'm literally I'm having like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory flashbacks, except it was like tomato gum instead of grape gum, and he's turning into a tomato. At any moment, he's going to just like expand into this red glow. But it's such a striking shot because of the lighting, and we talked a little bit about that in the last episode about the cinematography and the lighting and how it kind of makes all of the styrofoam and plastic or whatever it is we're looking at look more vivid. And it kind of like going through this minute made me go look into the cinematographer, Douglas Slocum, who you guys have talked about a bit on the podcast before.
Yeah.
He's got an amazing career. I mean, he did like The Lion in Winter and Jesus Christ Superstar and Kind Hearts and Cornets with Alec Guinness. I mean, he did Ealing comedies for years and years. He's had a really interesting career of producing these very sharp, vivid films. And he came onto the indie films because he worked with Spielberg on Close Encounters, which is another movie that's just full of these incredibly bright reds and key colors that pop off the screen. Yeah. So I think he did a pretty amazing, striking job, especially in this scene. As we go through the minutes, we're seeing a lot of like such sharp color and such sharp contrast. And in this case, you can't look away from Indy's head, because it's the only thing on screen that's getting that kind of lighting, that and the eyeballs of the skull.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting that the lighting is so striking because I think one of the things Douglas Slocum, if I remember right, was famous for was that he never ever used a light meter.
Oh, really?
Like I don't know, maybe it's an urban legend, but I remember reading that people have been saying, like, he always, I think, claimed that he never used a light meter.
He never learned how. It's so sad. But it's interesting, yeah, because like when we started Temple of Doom, we're like, wow, this is all like the same crew as Raiders. You know, same director, obviously, same star, same, you know, you got Douglas Slocum back and everything. But I was like, boy, but this movie doesn't look a thing like Raiders of the Lost Ark. But you're right. It's got a lot of its own very striking images and lighting like this.
I mean, if you think about the lighting down within the Well of Souls and just how key the lighting is to that scene, you kind of see hints of the way he likes to play with vivid light and vivid color there, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And it could just be the difference between, like, you know, 1980 and 1984. It's just like a different kind of, you know, a different world of cinema in a way, even though these are big Hollywood blockbusters.
Sure. And the difference between, you know, we're going for sun-bleached desert and Nazi iconography and, hey, let's make everything look like blood. Like, all the time.
Yeah.
Just more blood. Can it be more bloody?
I mean, even Mulram's head
Right.
painted red.
Yeah.
Talk about broad strokes.
Well, speaking of broad strokes, I don't. This might be a good time for me to point out. I love Mulram and I love Chatterlal, and I really like this movie. But I feel like this movie could have been so much stronger if Mulram and Chatterlal were the same guy. Like, I feel like both guys were so underutilized, and that, like, one kind of fizzles out and one kind of pops up out of nowhere, you know, like over halfway through the movie. And it just feels like they're both a little bit undefined. And I just wish, like, I love both of them so much. I wish they were a little less insubstantial. And I wonder, like, if you had made them one guy, like, what if Mulram had been at the dinner table? You know, what if Indy had had a conversation with him already?
Yeah, and then he goes down to the Temple of Doom and sees him in his get-up. He's like, oh my God, that guy's like a leader of a thuggy cult.
Yeah.
Who knew? Who could possibly have guessed?
And, you know, you don't even get enough time to, like, despise Chatterlal. You know,
no,
like,
and
here we are, and it, like, I like Chatterlal. Now, I knew, you know, that I didn't like Tote. You know,
Right.
You know what I mean? You know you don't like Tote. Maybe Belloc, you know, you kind of ride with him for a little bit, and then you hear a little bit more about what he does and what he's doing, and you know what I mean? It takes longer to. I like Belloc. I never disliked Belloc, really, ultimately. But you know, these guys, Chatterlal, you're like, why am I hating this dude again?
Yeah.
What? Like, he's a bad guy, right?
Right. And then, we have, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but yeah, like, he just shows up later as a bad guy. Like, he's with the bad guys. You're like, oh, okay, you're with the bad guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Although we don't even know he's a bad guy, though. Like, he's so undefined. Like, I just
he's just there.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if part of that is just a feeling that they needed a similar structure to the original Indiana Jones. So, you know, you've got to have that kind of subsidiary bad guy and the big bad guy, and they didn't bother to flesh them out to the same degree, but they kind of followed the same
we're
structure.
at minute 74, and I don't know Mulram.
Well, you're going to know him even less in this moment, because in the last minute that we did, he was Blofeld. You know, he's doing the quiet skull petting thing. He's explaining his evil scheme via calm monologue, and in this minute, he suddenly turns into the Joker. He's got the big insane grin on his face.
Yeah.
And he's like leaning in and like giggling, and you're about to drink some sort of poison that's going to make you smile too. When you're down here, you'll float too. Like, all of a sudden, he's Pennywise the clown, and he's completely different from the villain we saw in the last moment.
That's actually really true. I never thought of that. That's funny. Yeah, he's like, he goes to like the mocking, you know, kind of needling bad guy. Yeah. And Indy's reaction to that whole thing is really weird. Like, I don't really know what he's doing in the scene, because Mulram's like, oh, you don't believe me. And Indy sort of like hangs his head a little bit, almost like he's kind of avoiding his gaze, like, oh, he's onto me. I don't believe, or something. And then he like says, oh, but you're going to be a true believer. And then he does this totally, not fake laugh exactly, but a kind of like, I don't even know what the laugh is.
It's
between
weird.
him and Mulram there.
Yeah, they just smile at each other.
It's like he's going to do something or say something based on that laugh, and then he doesn't. like, ha ha ha, son of a bitch, like one of those things or something. But it's just sort of like a laugh that they share, like they're old buddies almost.
Uh-huh.
The thing where Indy drops his head, I can't figure out what he's doing there. Because, like, Mulram is staring down, and he looks down like he's looking at something. Like, they're both staring at the same thing, except that Indy, like, closes his eyes and closes his mouth. So he looks really grim for a second, but then the continuity to the next shot, in the next shot he's got his head down, but his eyes are open and his mouth is open, like he's staring at something. And Mulram looks up, like, with this, hey, huh? Like they're both looking at something. So I'm wondering if the cue there was supposed to be like he's holding the skull, and they changed it or something. There's between the shot continuity not working at all and exactly what's going through like Harrison Ford's head in that moment not being clear at all. It's a really weird shot.
Yeah, it is. There's something disconnected there or something.
I think, I agree with you. And this should be a very, very intense scene. You know, this is a very important scene here. But I think that Indy knows that he's in over his head and he doesn't know what to do. And he's kind of like, he's grasping at straws to figure out what he's supposed to do. And I think you can see this, actually. When Short Round struggles to break free, when he struggles to break free after Indy says, you know, what a vivid imagination, it looks like Shorty is about to attack Indy. You know, because he's like, he gives him like this, you know, you were my hero and you didn't listen to me, and now we're not going to wake up from a nightmare.
Right.
Like, just the way the scene is shot. Like, oh, he's about to run over and punch Indy.
Well, Indy's whole, his whole behavior in this scene is strange. And, like, at this point, we get Pat Roach comes in again, and he's, like, clutching a knife at his chest. And he kind of towers over Indy, and Indy does that, hi.
Yeah. Which is a decent laugh, I guess, for the audience.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Actually, this made me think of you, Jerry, because they kind of share a smile. And it reminded me of that one of the Raiders where that Nazi truck driver smiles at Indy, and he smiles back, and then he punches him off the cliff.
Yeah. Indy was supposed to punch Mulram right here. It never happened.
I think, you know, Mulram, you know, has the upper hand here.
Well, speaking of upper hand, and at this moment, Pat Roach, Mr. Hurry Up, comes back in the room, and he's, I think, clutching a knife at his chest. He's kind of doing either that or he's protecting his chest in case Mulram gets ideas about his heart.
Or if Indy throws another rock at him.
Yeah.
You know what I love is he comes to life with a
Yeah. And then Indy comes to life with a hi.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a strange little line.
I was wondering if that was ad-libbed.
It seems like a very Indy Harrison Ford-y kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of like, doesn't it? You know, like the "I love you, I know."
Yeah, it's like it's a meet cute.
I mean, it's a very uncomfortable moment. It's like somebody bigger than you stepping into your personal space, and I think it's just it seems like it's sort of an uncomfortable reaction. But you're right; that does really feel like an ad lib that they just decided to keep in.
Yeah.
Right. What's weirder is right after he says that, and after that scene, there's a shot of one of the kids, and he has the word "hi" on his arm.
Really?
Yeah, straight up. Yeah, he kind of has the red.
Oh my
paint
God, he
and
kind of does. Yeah.
Yeah, it says
Oh my
"hi"
God.
on his right arm.
I mean, it's just 3 lines, but it really looks like it, doesn't it? Because of the shadow.
I love that. Now they have to use these kids as teleprompters for Harrison Ford to remember his lines.
Right. Marlon Brando territory here.
With that in mind, with the idea that he's got "hi" written on his arm, like that makes the expression in his face in that moment even better, because he's just like, oh my God, he knows. He knows about my secret arm "hi."
I should have worn long sleeves. Is that the kid from The Cage who was talking about, oh, they're gonna make me drink the blood of Kali and stuff?
I was wondering that myself. Like, did they do it sort of in groups? Like, okay, group 36.
Yeah. If you have a blue card, come this way.
I thought the same thing, but I think that the kid in The Cage is like thinner and grubbier and like tireder looking.
Yeah.
I think it's a different kid. I think this is your basic like blood of Cali, acolyte kid.
Yeah. Although maybe the blood of Kali is very nourishing.
Yeah.
Put some skin on his bones in the last
What,
half
what
hour.
do we think it is?
That's a great question.
Like cranberry juice?
I mean, does like Mulram must know that there's something to it. Like, oh yeah, I put, sodium pentothal in it or whatever. Like I put like, it's some blood mixed with, mind control potion.
It's just Molly. We're just gonna dope you up, and you're gonna enjoy whatever goes on. So.
And do you
with
think does he get the blood from upstairs in the Pankot Palace kitchen? Like, is it something that they can whip up?
Well, if that's the case, though, why wouldn't they just serve it with dinner?
Yeah, and get everybody.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I don't know how far to get ahead, but like my opinion is that Mulram has drunk the blood, and I'm wondering, is this just like once you drink it, are you like, oh, this is really great stuff? I want everybody to drink it.
Well, I mean, what's really confusing about the whole damn movie is, are all blood drinkers then exonerated from their, moral turpitude because they're not acting under their own, under their own free will? Yeah.
Don't blame me. I drank the blood of Kali.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Sure, no problem. It's like the Twinkie defense.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, if that's the point, I mean, if that's the case, is anybody in this movie guilty of anything?
I mean, is this really a movie about moral choices? About complicated moral choices?
No.
just checking.
Yes, no.
Do I get on a plane with a guy who just almost got me killed, or who I don't even like, or do I just stay here in Shanghai? I don't know.
Rip a heart out of a guy's chest, or don't. Yeah.
Well, and I'm wondering, does the Khalid work if the Sankara stones are not present?
Oh, that's a good question.
Does it still work? Yeah. Do you need the Sankara stones and the Kali power that Mulram draws from Kali? Do the Sankara stones have to be present for the Khalid to be potent or effective?
Well, I mean, if so, this is only like 3/5 potent Khalid, and it's basically watered down. It's like, cheap church Khalid, where they didn't put enough flavor packets in, and like at any second, this like giant skull on like stubby little legs is going to come bursting through the wall and yell, "Oh yeah!" and like give them all a better brand. This Khalid is thin and not very refreshing. Hey, Kali.
Well, if it's 3/5 potent, that's probably why Indy's able to spit it out.
Oh, you mean like you think if it was 5/5, it would just like contact with his tongue, it would just take him over?
Yeah, if you had 5 stone grade Khalid.
5 stone proof.
Like if you sent some Khalid packets to Mayapur village when they had 1 stone, and you drank it, would you just be kind of highly suggestible? Like highly open to suggestion, or would you?
He would just like suddenly start thinking that putting skulls on things was a good idea. Like sacrificing people, still out, spending all of his days down in a mine, terrible idea. But you know what? Skulls are pretty cool, man.
There's not enough red in this village.
Yeah.
There's more red.
Where can we get a couple of red chelates and a smoke machine?
I just picture everyone like listening to the Smiths and everything.
Watching Tim Burton movies.
Yeah.
Traveling down to Mexico where every day is Day of the Dead for some strange reason. Can we talk about Mulram's, like, what is going on with his head paint? What is that supposed to represent something? Like, what's going on there?
I think it's a birthmark. You're not supposed to talk about it.
Is the high on that kid's arm also a birthmark?
Yeah. This is embarrassing.
Well, and as I was wondering, does he apply the paint himself?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I think if you're the godhead of a religion, you probably get somebody else to apply your paint.
Yeah. I mean, what's the point of having all these slave kids around if you have to do your own head paint?
That's why that kid has the red paint on his arm, and like watching that sequence, he's got it on his other arm too. That's where he wipes his fingers off after he does Mulram's head paint in the morning.
Well, that kid, yeah, because the kid also has like the cat whiskers on his face.
Oh yeah, he does. Those lines.
Yeah, which would make sense if he's just rubbing his fingers on his face. You know, like he's got an itch.
He's the royal paint tester.
You know, we kind of laugh at that the thing where where Indy like looks up at the huge dude, who's basically the Rock of his time, and says hi. But going back and looking at that shot, I mean, that guy's terrifying. He is immense, and Indiana Jones is like, you weigh 3 times as much as me, and my arms are chained. This is not going to end well.
Yeah, you got me. Hi.
I'm not into this. It's just not my scene, man. You did not have me at hello.
Right.
You know, we talked about this last minute, but I just gotta say it again. The skull chalice is really weird looking. It just, like, you get a better close-up of it, and they just get weirder and weirder. And I'm wondering, is there a correlation between how goofy looking it is and how potent the chalate is?
It looks like it's got plastic vampire fangs on it. like the cheapest Halloween vampire fangs.
What if these started off as totally normal head chalices, but then somebody washed them in the dishwasher when they weren't supposed to, and now they look all demented and gross?
They were put on like a high heat dry.
Yeah. Oh, come on, hand wash only. Damn it.
Those always go on the top rack.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, these are ruined, but we can't replace them because, like, where are we going to get a new head down here?
Yeah, what do you come? That's the good china.
It's a good thing I'm into messed up skulls, or I'd be really angry at you guys.
Could we maybe use some of the skulls from all the people we keep ripping the hearts out of? No, those aren't legacy skulls. Those are heart murders, not skull murders. Come on.
Yeah, don't be gross.
Well, they put it on like a goblet. Like they put the skull on top of like kind of a goblet holder, which looks kind of weird. Like it looks like those. If you ever play that game where you have that little pedestal and you've got the ball on a string and you have to flip it up and try to land it on the thing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the game.
Do you think that like we said before, like the mouth has that kind of, pitcher kind of cup to it or something? Yeah, the spout. Do you think that's all part of what like that and the chalice bottom are like one thing, and they just kind of like fit the skull like over that and kind of work it on there and just kind of jam it on there?
I think they only killed people with chalices already in their heads.
Yeah.
Was it the sort of thing where, did you ever hear those stories, like if you're, like your grandma would tell you, like if you make an ugly face, it's going to freeze that way. Maybe that's where they got all the skull chalices. Yeah.
And then the thuggies are going to show up, turn your head into a chalice.
Yeah. They turn your head into a chalice.
The close-up of it here, where it looks all cheap vampire fangy, it also looks a little bit like somebody was doing a really sloppy kind of pre-visualization of one of the Uruk-hai from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it does. These guys are goony. Trades with the kid. Trades his helmet, his hat, his Mulram hat for the chalice.
Yeah.
Well, you just see that kid thinking, can I put this on?
No one's looking.
Will he notice if I just pop it on my head for a sec?
They're all messing with that archaeologist. I could put the hat on. No one's going to know.
And then he turns to the other kids and he's like, blah, blah, blah. I'm the head of this religion.
Get me, I'm all around.
I have paint on my head and I like petting skulls.
I only have 3 stones. I'm a huge loser.
Hey, that's one more than most dudes have.
That's true. Well, do we have anything else for 74?
Just a thought where a huge dude is like prying his mouth open.
Yeah.
That is how you pry a dog's mouth open when you want to medicate it.
Right.
I have that. Yeah. I don't think that people have that anatomy. Like dogs' jaws are hinged in a way that if you poke your fingers in like right at the edge, their jaws pop open. I'm not sure that works on people.
Yeah.
Yeah, my notes, we just had a sick cat and had to give him medicine every day with a little stopper. And that's exactly my note. That's exactly how you hold the cat's mouth to give it medicine.
Oh, God, I have to give my cat medicine every day for like 3 years.
Oh.
And then do your kids like shout, spit it in their face, spit it in their face?
Yeah, it's evil. Beep beep
Oh,
beep
wait.
beep.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes. How did you know? Wait, this just in from Professor Christy Porter. Here, kid, hold my Mulram hat. Oh my God, that's
She has fun. Well, I think that's going to do it for 74. Tasha, do you think you can come back one more time and endure more of this?
I think I got another day in me here.
Awesome.
Just to
That's
hold
the
my hat
spirit.
for a second.
Oh, sure. Thanks. Look at me. I'm Tasha Robinson. I got 3 stones. Okay.
Dang it, I knew I shouldn't have turned away to try to force feed my cat the blood of Kali.
That's what happens. Well, listen, where can people find you and your writings in the world and online?
You can find me writing about film and TV over at TheVerge.com. You can find me at Twitter at Tasha Robinson, no space. And you can find me over at NextPictureShow.net, where me and a group of colleagues from The Dissolve do a podcast where we take 2 films, one from the present day and one from the past, and contrast them to see what they have to say about each other. We recently did Kong Skull Island and the original 1933 King Kong, and they actually have a surprising amount in common. It's really, really clear how much people sat down with the old King Kong and watched it, like, literally shot by shot to bring some things into the present.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it's not just the fact that they both have giant apes. Who knew?
Awesome. And Pete, where can people come to find out more about us and let us know what they think about things?
Why don't you visit our website, indianajonesminute.com, and check out our Han Solo Dream page and our trading cards, and lots of ways there where you can get in touch with us.
And please come back here tomorrow and get in touch with us with your ears as we discuss minute 75 of Temple of Doom here on the Indiana Jones Minute.
Hi?
Ha!
Running out of short H words here, guys.